Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. There's a war going on over Kamala Harris's Wikipedia page, with unflattering elements vanishing. This is an article from The Intercept, and I would like to read to you the highlighted parts, as I normally do. When I bring you the news, I read it, I highlight what I think is the most important, and then I read it again on webcam, and then I talk about other shit. So, California Democratic Senator Kamala Harris is widely seen as a frontrunner for the spot on the ticket with presumptive nominee Joe Biden, with vetting well underway. Presidential vetting operations have entire teams of investigators. But for the public, when the pick is announced, the most common source for information about the person chosen is Wikipedia. And there a war has broken out over how to talk about Harris's career. At least one highly dedicated Wikipedia user has been scrubbing controversial aspects of Harris's tough-on-crime record from her Wikipedia page. Her decision not to prosecute Steve Mnuchin for mortgage fraud-related crimes, her strong support of prosecutions in Orange County, who engaged in rampant misconduct, and other tidbits. I love tidbits. Such as her previous assertion that it is not progressive to be soft on crime, that could prove unflattering to Harris as the public first gets to know her on the national stage. The edits, according to the page's history, have elicited strong pushback from Wikipedia's volunteer editor brigade, and have drawn the page into controversy, though it's a fight the pro-Harris editor is currently winning. Reminder, centrists always break for fascism. Reminder, I've said this before, I'll say it again. Last month, a Reddit user remembered the Atlantic piece that I did not highlight, just, this happens before, and wrote a Jupiter script. I don't know what that is. I'm guessing it's some code language. I don't know. I'm a fucking nerd, okay? I guess I'm not a nerd in this context, but to see which 2020 vice presidential contender had the most edits in a span of 3 weeks. Harris had 408, Stacey Abrams had 66, Liz Warren had 22, Amy Klobuchar had 4. Another Redditor pointed out that a majority of Harris's edits were coming from a single person. Harris has been working to distance herself on the national stage from her prosecutorial record in California, which has increasingly become a political liability. When taking a lead on the Democratic police reform legislation after the killing of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor during the 2020 primary. Wait, I'm sorry, I've got dyslexia, it's hard to read sometimes. Which has increasingly become a political liability. While taking the... Right, okay. So, basically, she is trying to act like, oh, the police, oh, they're so problematic, Black Lives Matter. Now, when a few years ago, she was singing a different tune and dancing a different dance. That's what I messed up reading. During the 2020 primary, she branded herself as a progressive prosecutor and shifted left on issues like healthcare and climate change. I disagree with that writing, because she definitely shifted right. Before the primary, she was a co-sponsor of Sanders' bill. After the primary, she was not a co-sponsor and made up her own bill. So I think she shifted right on healthcare, but whatever. But the most drastic gap is between her current messaging on crime and her past. A section in her bio that detailed her decision not to prosecute Mnuchin for financial fraud, despite recommendations from her staff attorneys, has also been deleted. It goes as follows. In 2013, Harris did not prosecute Steve Mnuchin's Bank One West, despite evidence suggestive of widespread misconduct. According to a leaked memo, in 2017, she said that her office's decision not to prosecute Mnuchin was based on following the facts and the evidence, like any other case. In 2016, Mnuchin donated $2,000 to her campaign, making her the only 2016 Senate Democratic candidate to get cash from Mnuchin. But as senator, she voted against the confirmation of Mnuchin as Secretary of the Treasury. Again, it doesn't matter. He had enough votes. Her fucking vote was symbolic. The vote doesn't matter. If he got through anyway, her vote was inconsequential. A section of the Ethics Commission finding Harris guilty of campaign spending violation during her San Francisco district attorney race has also been deleted. A line about Harris traveling to Israel and the West Bank in November 2017, where she met with the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, was removed altogether. I wonder why. That's the thing, is when these people delete this stuff, it's tacitly admitting what they're afraid of. It's, oh, we know this is bad, so we have to hide it. That's what that is. They know it's bad. But they still support Kamala anyway. Think about that. The Wikipedia user, who goes by the username Benugin1114, has made hundreds of edits to Harris's page throughout the last several months, often getting into fights over the proposed edits with other Wikipedia editors, who pointed out that the language was getting pulled directly from press conferences and campaign literature. Quote, "You seem to have gone through a database of press releases from Harris's office, cataloging every single one and adding it to the article," one Wikipedia editor said. "That is not how we write encyclopedic articles." And then it goes on to say that, there's more stuff removed. While campaigning in the Mission District SF, San Francisco, SF Weekly, right, reported at the time Harris slammed Hallinan for failing to prosecute anti-war protesters for property destruction. "It is not progressive to be soft on crime." She was trying to do, basically, what she's advocating against right now, she was doing back then. "Oh, the protesters, they're innocent now," she says. Back then, the exact opposite. On June 8th, the Wikipedia user removed this quote from the page, saying that the changes were minor edits for length. Oh, right. Reminder. Centrists always will break for fascism, censorship, cover-ups, disgusting behavior, war crimes. They will always support that before they support poor people having health care. Remember that. This user also tried to make edits to the Bernie Bro Wikipedia page. This is interesting. A term that refers to the persistent myth that Bernie Sanders' presidential campaign had a monolithic base of support concentrated only among young white men. According to the user's edit history, they tried to remove a paragraph explaining that although Sanders' base skewed white in 2016, the Vermont senator actually had the most diverse base of any of the Democratic presidential candidates. I wonder why they would try to remove that. Interesting. What else do you want me to say? The KHive is disgusting. They're fascistic. They're egomaniacal. They're not liberals. A lot of them can be called straight up fascists. I've talked to a lot of Kamala Harris KHive supporters, and a lot of them can just be described as fascist. They just support the blue fascist over the red fascist. That's the only difference. They support the Yas Queen black woman fascist over the ugly orange white man fascist. That's the only difference for these people. It's all a game for them. It's sports. They don't care. They skew more rich. Everything is fine for them. They don't give a shit if poor people have health care, because they have health care, and that's what's most important. So they hitch their wagon, or they hitch themselves to the wagon of Kamala Harris. Ooh, maybe I can make a name for myself, standing for Kamala? When in reality, all they're doing is making themselves look like losers, freaks, social rejects. Because that's exactly what they are. Honestly, if you're a Kamala fan, what the fuck? And if you're one of these Kamala fans, please get therapy.